Hello, people. Welcome back to another video by your good friend, Chad Marco, the big Aniki. Make sure you guys smash that like button. And let me tell you guys a sad story. So this video is called The Worst Christmas Ever. Now, of course, well, for me, today is Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas. So I found it, appropriate to tell this story. I was telling it to a friend earlier and he thought it was hilarious. I was like, yeah, I gotta tell this to the people. But let's rewind. Let's go back. So this happened around the time I was about 10, 11, or 12 years old. I forgot exactly when, but I was pretty young. And so my mom and my dad were separated pretty much from the time I was born. I've always lived with my mother, but occasionally I would go to my dad's house, especially for holidays, maybe Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So about 2 or 3 times out of the year, I go to my dad's house, and it would be me, my sister, and my half brother. So me and my sister have the same mom, same dad, but my half brother, we have different mothers, same dad. And so especially on Christmas, we would always go over to my dad's house and we would be excited. And the thing is, my mom, she's always been a Jehovah's Witness. So Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't celebrate most holidays and they don't celebrate Christmas. So especially for me and my sister, we were always excited to go to my dad's house for Christmas because we knew we would actually get something. Well, to be fair, my mom would just give us some money, but we wouldn't do all the trees and presents and that sort of thing. She'd give me $50 and say, fuck off. But back to my dad's house. So we all go to my dad's house. Now at this point, my dad had remarried. Oh no, in fact, my dad never married my mom. So at this point, my dad got married to another woman, and she had a daughter of her own. So her daughter was our stepsister. So whenever we would go to my dad's house, it would be typically me, my sister, my half brother, my stepsister, my dad, his wife. And for the most part, we got along well. My stepmom, she always treated us treated us very well. Never had any problem or issue with her whatsoever. I got along great with my stepsister because she was kind of nerdy. She liked playing video games, so we would all just pile up in her room and play video games and stuff like that. But my dad, my dad was kind of mean, and he was quick to grab that belt. So whenever we went over there, we were like, look, one of us is gonna get it. So we don't know who, but somebody gonna fuck up and get an ass whooping before we leave. But at least we're gonna get some presents. Right? And so again, it's Christmas time. And so Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, I'm sure that we were eating breakfast. Dad might have made us something. And so we're all excited. We're looking at the presents under the tree. My dad was really into the whole theatrics of Christmas. The lights on the outside, some snowman on the outside, plastic snowman, and Christmas tree with the ornaments, right? So those presents were just sitting under the tree, teasing us the whole time we were there. So it's Christmas morning, and we're excited. We are ready to go. We're ready to unwrap those presents. So the first red flag was that between me, my half brother, and my sister, we noticed that we didn't get a lot of presents. We weren't checking the boxes and reading the names on them before it was time to grab everything. But when things were being passed out, we were like, wait a minute, we're not getting a lot. We're not getting a lot of presents. And so I can remember I had a present and I unwrapped it, and it was like a box. And it was a box with an assortment of different dollar store toys. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you guys might have been to a Dollar General, Family Dollar, or Dollar Tree, and they have like a toy aisle where they have different toys that cost anywhere from $1, $2, stuff like pop guns, whoopee cushions, army men, Play-Doh, fake plastic handcuffs, that sort of thing. The cheapest kind of action figures, right? And basically, it was a box with stuff like that in it. Like, just imagine $10 worth of Dollar Tree toys in a box. And I'm like, hold up, wait. And my sister got the same thing. And my half brother got the same thing. So we're all looking at each other like, wait, what the? It's like my dad basically went to the dollar store and got $30 worth of dollar store toys and just split it up between the three of us, wrapped it up and said, here you go. Now, I don't think that was the only present we got, to be fair, but of course, outside of that, it was like we got probably a sweater and some socks, because you're always gonna get a few clothes. So just imagine that you're so excited for Christmas and you get a box of Dollar Tree toys, a sweater, and some socks. Now, I don't mean to sound ungrateful. I don't mean to sound like a spoiled brat. Like, that isn't even what made it so bad. If you're broke and y'all down bad like that, okay. But this is what really made this Christmas awkward and strange for me as a kid. So while we're coming to terms with and processing what the hell is going on, my stepsister, she's getting her gifts. And so red flag number 2, she got a lot of them. And so she's just opening stuff. And I can remember some of the things that she got. She got a PlayStation, a brand new PlayStation. And it was one of the new model PlayStations. If you remember, the first model PlayStation was gray and shaped more like a rectangle. And then they released the second model, which was white and had like a circular design to it. She got one of those. And she got this screen to go with it. It was like an attachable screen to it where you could play the PlayStation without hooking it up to a TV. And she got this, it was either like a bubblegum maker or a slushy maker. It was kind of like a easy bake oven, but it wasn't that. It was just like this toy that would make treats or something like that. I forgot exactly what it made, but it was some fancy stuff. Big, nice dolls. Just you know how you go to Walmart and they got like just nice toys that cost $20, $30, $40. I mean, basically she got very nice presents. And we're sitting there like, wait a minute, why did she get all this nice stuff and we got a box of Dollar Tree toys? Right? And I just remember how confused we were and how bad that made me feel as a kid who didn't understand, why is my stepsister getting all these things while we're getting basically, and I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but it's more so just about the comparison factor. And by comparison, we got a bunch of crap. And like I said, I didn't understand it as a kid, but now that I'm older, I'm pretty sure that I understand what happened. And so I'm kind of filling in the gaps here, but I'm pretty sure that I'm on the mark. So at the time, my dad, he wasn't working because he had gotten hurt. So he was trying to get on disability. And at the time, he was pretty much dependent on his wife because she was working. And on top of that, their relationship was kind of rocky at the time. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but it was ups and downs in their relationship, to say the least. So they weren't always on the best of terms. Now they're still together, to this day. But at the time, it was kind of rocky. And so now that I look back and I understand how these broken family and sewn together family dynamics work, I can see what it was. And more than likely, it was that between my dad not working and them not always being on the best of terms with each other, and we didn't realize this until later because of how well she my stepmother treated us, but they weren't always getting along. I think between those two things, she probably felt like, look, I'm not going to do for your children what you should be doing for them. I'm the breadwinner. I'm going to put my resources towards my daughter. And I think also she had her own father, and he might have contributed to that as well, which just made it worse. But I think that's basically what it was. I think that my stepmother felt as if that, look, these are your kids. You need to be the one to buy them presents. And I don't feel a sense of entitlement, so I'm not too upset about that. But I think as a whole, my disappointment is in the fact that they allow us to even be in that situation. I understand if you have your own daughter and you want to make sure that she's taken care of and that she gets what she wants, but you know that we're going to feel bad about seeing the difference in what we get compared to her. And as a kid, remember, I'm not looking at it like, oh, this is my stepsister, this is my stepmom. I mean, that's what they were. But when I was at my dad's house, as far as I was concerned, we were one family under one roof. And so I didn't get why we were getting so much less compared to her. I didn't get it until now. And of course, when you begin to understand how these broken families and sewn together families work, things aren't always equal and fair as far as like how people feel about kids that aren't theirs. It's like, I remember there was this video where this woman, she was upset because her baby daddy brought food for his son, but not the other children that she had. I guess they were broken up at this point. And so, of course, she didn't want to just take this food and give it to this one of her kids and say, well, look, y'all didn't get nothing. And so that's why she was upset at him. But then at the same time, I can see from his perspective that, look, I'm here to take care of my kids or my kid, not yours, especially since they weren't together. The only reason I do hold it somewhat against my stepmom was the fact that even if the relationship wasn't in a very good place at that time, the fact is you married my dad. And so when you do that, you sign on. Like you can't marry a person and then just and just pretend that they don't have kids. It's one thing when you're just dating someone, right? But when you marry someone, you're really signing on to be their family. And I feel like that's an acceptance of their family and their children. That's why, you're my son-in-law, you're my father, things like that, because we're becoming family now. And again, I don't hold any grudge or pettiness in my heart about this whole situation. I can look back at it now and laugh. But what I will say that disappoints me about it from both of them is that they had to have known that we would feel bad about that. Being in that situation for a kid is terrible. It was so confusing. It was so awkward. And we just did not understand why we weren't getting as much as our stepsister. And I never forgot how bad that made me feel. And it just goes to show how problematic it can be when you have these types of relationships where the man has kids that aren't the woman's and the woman has a kid that's not the man's. And just as human beings, we're typically just going to have favoritism towards our own children. Some people can override that programming and do what they think is right, but not always. And I feel like we got caught up in the middle of something that really should have never happened. Like they should have definitely handled it differently to insulate us from the glory of our stepsister's presence. I mean, goddamn, a bubblegum maker, a PlayStation. Damn, I like video games too. Man. And she was the only child, pretty much. When we weren't around, she was the only child. So she was spoiled. Not saying that to attack her, but it is what it is. And man, just what a ugly example of the things that families have to deal with when you have broken homes, and especially the children that get caught in the middle of it. And that's why, man, I would just, if I ever have kids, man, I just hope that I can stay with the mother and never have to deal with those types of situations, because it was so uncomfortable. It was so awkward. And to this day, I consider that to be the worst Christmas ever. But again, like I said, they're still together to this day. I haven't seen my stepsister in forever though, but I know that my father is still with my stepmom. And me and my dad, we have a better relationship with me as an adult than we did when I was a kid. I think that despite situations like that and his shortcomings as a father, I've been able to put all that behind me. And I'm just appreciative of the fact that, I have a father who is still alive, and who, we don't talk very much, but we catch up maybe once or twice a year. And again, I'm just thankful for the fact that I have a father that is alive and that I can call on whenever, and that is around. And so again, saying this, I don't say none of this to, dishonor him or anything like that. It's just something that happened. It was just a very real moment in my life, and very memorable for me as a kid. But I'm glad to say that now, as an adult, I have a good relationship with my father, and I'm definitely appreciative of the relationship that I have with him. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and hope you guys have a great Christmas. Enjoy yourselves, and Chad Marco will be signing off. Johnny.